Yes, I think we like first. Oh yeah, it makes it also like rotating a little bit weird off the first wave. We actually want disparity cause jungler to start in mid. They want to be there with the minion first. It kind of limits some options. It makes also like rotating a little bit weird off the first wave. We actually want to fix this, but this is something that is going to require a little bit more time to fix and testing to make sure we don't break core systems. So that's something we're going to look towards mid-season. We're going to internally test that, see if we can find a good fix, and if we do, we'll probably implement that.
So something we are looking at doing if we can make that happen, but it's just all about whether or not we can find the right time to do it, and it works effectively and doesn't break the game.
Yes, it'll probably be around mid-season. Also, if these changes don't work, we have the ability to pull these back really quickly. We can also look at mid-season to do other changes based off the data we get from this. So this is kind of our first step in addressing the problem, and then we're going to really watch it closely and make steps towards mid-season and at mid-season to address it further.
There's no doubt in the experience festival. Not just that, though, in terms of balance, we do have a few other things that are going to be going on. The Gold Fury adjustments. We've increased the base health from 2,250 to 2,550, as well as we've decreased the base gold worth of this from 190 to 150. So it's gone up in health and down in gold.
Yes, so this is also paired with the Portal Demon change that we'll talk about in a little bit. But we were also seeing teams in the early game, especially around like the 8 to 10 minute mark, they'd win one fight because they had an advantage in the early game. And off that one fight, they could take a Gold Fury because it was low health and very easy to kill. And then they could also take a Portal Demon, which would give them even more. And that was something we actually saw contribute to Snowball a little bit more. It was the indirect consequence of the early game being a little bit this thing that you could kind of like push forward your level. Then you push forward your level, you get one advantageous fight, and then you get Gold Fury and Portal Demon. So we're making Gold Fury a little bit harder to kill and worth a little bit less. By the time late game comes around, it'll be worth actually a little bit more, but early and mid game it will be worth less. And Portal Demon is also seeing adjustment downwards in terms of the gold worth.
And that's what I get to now. Portal Demon is down from 150 gold to 100 gold now. So overall, it's a 40 gold decrease on the gold of the Gold Fury at base, and the decrease in the gold from the Portal Demon means it's a 50. So overall, the Portal Demon is going to be worth less than the Gold Fury anyway.
We're really trying to highlight that Portal Demon, the Gold Fury is the advantage you want if you want to get golden experience for your team. Portal Demon can give you that in the case where you can't get Gold Demon or Gold Fury because it's down or you're in a dangerous spot. But it gives a huge tactical advantage. So we want to make sure that tactical advantage is the one that's highlighted, not necessarily the gold gain or the experience.
Okay, well that's adjustments to the game balance, but now it's to move on to the item balance itself.
Also, fun note. No, fun note.
You're gonna be scared then.
No, yeah, we're fine. We have Spectator on PTS. That's been sometimes bugged when we have PTS out. So players and coaches will be able to spectate games and get really prepared, especially for the upcoming SPL.
Yeah, because this patch is going to hit just before SPL.
So people will actually be able to play on that, spectate it, really watch the replays, really dive deep into this. So
and get some real good feedback on this experience changes and see if anything goes through or anything gets pulled back. We'll find out. But it's time to move on to item balance now. First up, top of the shop is going to be Mark of the Vanguard. This is going to get a reduction to its passive. The flat damage reduction that used to be 5 is going to go down to 4, so it's just 1 off the top.
Yeah, it's 1 off the top, which over the course of over the course of an entire game, especially the early laning phase, the amount of minion damage you're taking, the amount of poke you're taking in the other laner, this will amount up to being a little bit less effective. We've just seen people pick this up, mostly ignore trades, just kind of like brawl in the lane and be like, I don't care, I have Death Toll and Mark of the Vanguard, I'm just going to heal up forever. We're also looking at Death Toll separately, but that's a little bit more complicated. But Mark of the Vanguard is kind of our first step towards looking at that kind of like unkillability and like you can't get poked back because you have so much defense.
Gotcha. Next up on the list is Chronos Pendant, and is that right?
Yeah, Chronos Pendant.
Go on.
Yeah, dude. It's a fun item. Pushing past
it's going up 20 power?
Yeah.
It's 80 power?
I mean...
And cooldown reduction?
It's this item that we were kind of afraid of when we first made it, right? It was the idea that you're boosting yourself past the CDR cap. It's a luxury item, clearly, because of that and its cost. And so we were kind of reserved in the power that it gave. As the seasons have developed, it's really not fallen into anyone's build. People aren't really picking up because it's just kind of too slow to pick up. We're increasing the power a little bit and see where it falls after that.
Spicy.
Yeah, mage build's getting a little bit of a shake-up.
Yeah, I can tell. Next up on the list, though, is Emerald Mail. We've increased the health of this from 200 to 250.
This was actually some direct feedback that we got in that building into these items, like the Shield of Regrowth or the Gauntlet of Thieves, was a bit difficult because the Tier 2 didn't feel as effective. It was only 100 extra health for 600 gold, which that's a lot of investment to make for not a lot of defenses.
I agree.
And so it's going up a little bit. We do have a small nerf for an item that's built off that tree, but this will make the overall tree a little bit easier to build into.
And that item that's getting nerfed is Gauntlet of Thieves, I believe.
Yes.
Gauntlet of Thieves is going to get a bit of a nerf this patch, and it's just going to be on the reduced health from 400 to 350, so just a touch off the top.
Yeah, it's a weird aura item, right? Because it gives all protections.
Yep.
And it gives a lot of health.
Yep.
And so all protections plus a whole bunch of health makes it this really good total effective health item that makes you really tanky.
It reminds me of old school sovereignty.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like real old school sovereignty, yeah.
And so sovereignty, because it's physical only, right? You can deal with it with magical damage. Heartward Amulet, you can deal with physical damage.
Sure.
And because like there are 2 items, you have to invest 2 goals to get all that protections, where this one gives you only 1. So we're reducing its health a little bit so people aren't so tanky in the early phase. If they really need a counter physical or counter magical, they should be going for the other auras first.
Okay, well, we'll see how that one plays out for Golem of Thieves and the Emerald Mail as well. Next up is Stone of Foul with a cost reduction. It was 2,900 gold. It's going to come down 200 to 2,700.
We've seen this with a few other really situational items. This is very much anti-burst, where it's expensive because it's really good at the thing it stops, but if it's too expensive, it's not good enough in enough situations. And so we're bringing the cost down so that when you build into this, you're not so behind on kind of your power curve.
Okay, it's a bit more cost efficient for what you're going to get from this one. 1,000-fold Blade up next, which is increased physical power from 15 to 20. This is similar to Emerald Mail?
Yeah, similar. It's essentially the upgrade was very little movement speed and power for a lot of gold. We're making it a little bit easier to build into the Catan tree as a whole.
So it makes it more worthwhile.
Yeah.
We'll see how that one works out too. As well as the final item to be balanced this patch is Shifter's Shield.
This one's fun. I like this one.
Okay, let me read through it, because I'm scared. Because I've not had a chance to see the patch notes. I just saw Chronos Pendant. I'm like, mind blown. And
Yeah, Shifters is great.
So Shifter's Shield, reduce power from 40 to 35, increase passive bonus physical power from 20 to 35, reduce physical protection from 20 to 15, reduce magical protection from 20 to 15, and increased passive bonus protections from 20 to 35. Is this a buff or a nerf?
This is a buff. So it basically has 2 forms, right? It has its power form, which has 60 power and 20 protections, and then it had its defensive form, where it had 40 power and I think 40 protections. And so essentially what we're doing now is making it the power form way more powerful. It's 70 power with only 15 protections. So it's more offensive, a little bit less defensive. And then when it shifts, it's way more defensive and a little bit less powerful.
Like its name suggests,
yeah,
right?
Essentially, right? We're just highlighting the fact that this is the situation, like when you're high health, you want to engage with all your power. You get 70 power, which is a very high power item. When you're low, you want to survive. So because it's a design that shifts into the right situation for the right thing that you need at the time, this is overall a buff.
Better well since we've seen Shifter's Shield really in the meta, so we'll see if it does come back as strong.
It was kind of competing a little bit with Masamune.
I agree, yeah.
Because Masamune is like a little bit of health and defenses and power. This one's much more I don't really care about the health and the movement speed. I'd much rather have the raw power or the raw protections.
I want to go aggressive, but when I'm in trouble, I want to run for my life and hope I'll live.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much the style. And that's it for the item balance. It's time to move on to the god balance section. Ooh,
we're there.
Are we in alphabetical order today?
Oh, jeez.
Of course we're not. It's Pom-Pom.
I mean,
we don't prep anything for our shows.
I know that's a whole bunch of. There's 2 C's, there's an E, there's a G. That's alphabetical so far.
Yeah.
That looks alphabetical to me.
Yeah.
I don't think I've gotten this wrong in a while. We just like to poke fun at it.
I was actually trying to throw. I was trying to throw you off there and see you got it wrong. I was honest.
Voice packs are the only thing I haven't.
Well, it's about time.
I've learned the alphabet.
It's about time. Listen, it's about time. Kernanos. He's getting nerfed. It's about time. Why did it take so long? First of all.
We want to see how he performs, right?
We all saw how he performed.
Well, like the difference between like how people play him, whether he's popular or whether he's just like there's counter picks that are available to him. We saw him move around a little bit. We just wanted to give him a little bit of breathing time so that he could actually play before he got significant nerfs.
Breathing time. Shifter of Season, first of all. We're going to decrease the physical power scaling of this from 20%. Why the hell was it 20%? Down to 10%.
Yep. And
not only that, the Bramble Blast has had an increase in its cooldown from 13 to 15 seconds as well. Now, I understand, like, we touched them once or twice here or there and left it a little bit. Obviously, we don't want to keep hitting the same abilities time and time again, so we're just trying to find the edges on things to really bring down here. Is that what it feels like?
Most of it was the amount of damage he just pumped out a game compared to other hunters was significantly higher. Because he had Bramble Blast on a low cooldown, it was really easy to confirm.
Sure.
That constituted a lot of damage over the course of the game. Similarly, Summer, every time you autoed, you had essentially 20% extra scaling on your autos. That contributed a lot. And so we're just toning down that kind of top-end damage. When he's sitting in Summer form, it's going to be a little bit less effective. He has to actually shift into the other seasons to actually get the full benefit still.
Yeah.
Like, like a lot of people just sit in Summer, it's fine, and maybe go to Winter. Now you're more incentivized to actually go for the pen so that you can get the more damage, and then go to Summer. It raises the skill cap a little bit to be doing more effective damage. And Bramble Blast is on a long cooldown, which does 2 things. It lowers his damage throughout the whole game because he's casting it less. It's lowering his clear the whole game because he's casting it less. And it also is removing some of his survivability and ability to engage because he no longer is rooting as often.
Okay. More nerfs to Kernanos. We'll see what you guys think at home, I'm sure. But next up is Chong-Ah, and Chong-Ah's going to get a nerf as well.
Yeah, she has been kind of long-standing trying to get into Conquest, and this season specifically, she really showed up. And so now she's had about I don't know, 9 patches of being pretty good.
Pretty permabanned.
Yeah, pretty good in Conquest. We're looking to adjust her a little bit more. We didn't target specifically damage things because that helps her stay in the Conquest map. We targeted a few things that are a little bit frustrating to fight around or a little bit more too efficient for her.
Okay, so it's Moonlit Waltz, first of all, that's going to get changed. And that's going to have the cooldown, increased cooldowns, I should say, from 20 to 12 is now going to be 20 to 14. There's a couple of 0.5s in there in the levels as well for that scaling factor for you guys at home who are really detailed on the numbers. And not only that, the Moonflower Dance, we've actually increased the cooldown of that from 10 to 12 seconds as well. It's a big jump there.
Yeah, she's healing a bit less. She's also immuning damage a bit less. So that she's a little bit, she has more opportunity to be caught out and countered if she's in a bad position. Again, we didn't want to really hit her damage or the kind of utility that her ult provides. So that's really what keeps her in Conquest. But these things were a little bit frustrating to fight against, so we're toning them down.
Okay, next on the list is Erlang Shen, and Erlang's going to get a bit of love this patch, it seems. We're going to look at towards his base stats. That seems to be like the run of show here. A couple of warriors getting a bit of love, right?
Yeah, we did this a little bit in the past, right? With Osiris, he got a bit of love.
Yep.
Sun Wukong got a little bit of love. We have a few this patch. We're just kind of looking at warriors as a whole and seeing kind of which ones need a little bit love to do well in the solo lane or maybe even the jungle.
Okay, so Erlang Shen's base stats are going to go up from 38 to 39 in base power, and not only that, his attack speed will go up from 0.8 to 1 as well. So that 1 is actually pretty big.
Yeah, we're just highlighting the fact that he's this in-hand warrior, right? Like
and
he had a lot of utility before. He was kind of mixed in his roles. As we've trimmed down some of his crowd control, really his ability to deal damage kind of fell off as well. And so now we're just highlighting that ability to deal damage.
Next on the list is Guan Yu. Guan Yu's going to have a look at his Warrior's Will. We're going to increase the physical power scaling from 50% to 60%, so a 10% increase. And not only that, the Tallow Assault increased duration of protection steal from 3 seconds to scaling from 3 seconds all the way up to 5 seconds now. That's a pretty decent buff, that one.
Yeah, Warrior's Will is going to do a bit more damage, but I think the big one here is the Tallow Assault change,
yeah,
right?
that's one.
You're going to have more protections for longer, and you're going to have shredded the target for longer, which means you have longer opportunity for your teammates to take advantage of the fact that you shredded. You're going to be a little bit tankier for longer. You can stay in. You might see him actually successfully jungle these changes.
DJ Pernicus may return to Eager here. Sorry, Sam. Sorry, buddy.
I had to throw
Blame
that
Pom Pom. That
was
Sam.
my fault.
You just got a team too, and now DJ's gonna be back. Hades! Hades? How's Hades doing?
Very good. Very good. He's been very high on the stats overall in like a lot of regards. Even when you factor in like the super high ELO rank or MMR games, he is doing pretty well. In casuals, he's doing very well. And so we're looking to tone down some of his ability to escape, ability to survive. We're not toning down his damage because that's one of the big things we gave back to him, so that he could be kind of this burst mage. And we like that his new playstyle is adapted to that, but he was living too long, he was escaping too often. And because we're toning those things down, we're giving him a little bit more utility with his silence.
So Death from Below will go from 12 seconds to 14 seconds now. Shroud of Darkness, decrease the cooldown on this. It used to be 15 to 11, it's now 14 to 10. And Devour Souls decreased power scaling on the Detonate heal from 15% to 10% as well.
Yep, so he'll be able to, he won't be able to engage or disengage as often with Death from Below. He'll be able to silence more often, which is kind of this cool utility thing. So we're kind of highlighting that ability that he has. And then he'll be healing for less, so he won't be healing to full health, especially in the late game, as much.
And the next up on the warrior list is Odin now. Odin's going to get a bit of a change too. This is on Gungir's Smite, which is the 3 increased base damage from 35 to 95. He's going to actually go up to 45 to 125. That's a bit of a nice change, that. And Gungir's Smite's second swing will now also slow. I never knew that.
Yeah,
only
the first swing did.
I thought they both slowed.
Nope, only the first one did. The second one had to be added.
I won't believe that. Okay.
Yeah, big thing is Gungir's might actually exist as an ability now. You don't just max sleep and bird bomb and then put
don't even care about the 3.
Yeah, it actually will deal damage pretty significantly now.
That 1.1. And finally on the balance section is Susano. Susano.
Yeah, he has a nerf here.
Susano, yes.
He's a bit good.
I hate him. I'm not joking. Like, there's only one gun in the game that I hate. Actually, no, I hate Bakasura too because he's not fun to play against.
Wow, I can't be friends with you.
But he's not fun to play against. He's great fun to play as, and everyone enjoys playing him. But he's not fun to play against.
Yeah, overall, his stats are only really good at the super high end as people make use of him.
Okay.
But we understand he's fairly frustrating. We've had this discussion with him before. We're toning down specifically the frustration on the Typhoon, right? The Typhoon, once you're caught in it, you're basically stuck in it, and you sit there and wait until he fully charges it, and he detonates it and ults you. And if you're gonna escape because you're on like the extra edge range, he's going to just use it really quickly. He's gonna let charge up enough to knock back. We've reduced the pull strength of the Typhoon, and we've also reduced how much it slowed you while you were in it. So now players who are caught in it will be pulled in a little bit, but they will have a lot more chance to escape. So if he gets a whole bunch of people in, he either needs to fire it immediately to get the damage out, or people are going to have time to spread out and start splitting up so that he has to choose what direction he wants to go in. So a little bit more counterplay to the Typhoon.
Cool. The good news is it's already on the screen, so I don't have to read this one. Where can we just do this anyway, right? Like,
the numbers are kind of invisible rules that like determine his strength, so like there's not really good context for them. But essentially what it means is, I'm a character, I'm caught in it, I'm going to be able to run out effectively now.
Biggest change that you think is important here, other than the experience? I think that's the clear biggest one that's going to be talked about, but what's the other ones?
Geez, I actually think the Guan Yu one has a lot of potential. He's often kind of built this... He's kind of built this like weird way of cooldown reduction and damage. Having protections for longer really highlights other items that can increase his like health at all. So like Shield of Regrowth is going to be way better now because he has protections for longer, which helps him stay alive longer. But I think Guan Yu has really good potential now to come out and be really strong.
Well, we'll see how Guan Yu does in the next patch. Obviously, this patch is due out next Tuesday, but it's not all over just yet, so don't worry. We're still got a god to reveal.
Yeah.
You got the voice pack?
Well, if it's the base god, it's the bug I think it is, then yes.
Well, we'll find out after this quick moment. Let's take a little look as Pompon gets himself back to checking out this new god. Daji, I believe the name is the Nine-Tailed Fox.
These gods will soon feel the most excruciating pain.
There's a little look at Daji early on, and joining us once again is Chuck Fishman and AJ to bring it down and break down the new god that's coming out. As first of all, God, goddess, tomorrow. They're all the same thing. Yeah, AJ's mic's off. That's good. I like that. We don't have to hear him anymore.
Male for Male.
I'm sorry. I'll forgive you because I know AJ's got a lot to talk about with this one as well.
Yes, testing. Oh,
there we go. We're back.
I was going to say, I'll let my shirt speak for me. It's pretty loud.
So, first things first, I guess we should start off with Daji the Nine-Tailed Fox. I'm going to come to you first, AJ. Tell me a little bit about what is her lore and why is she going to be joining the Battlegrounds?
So Daji's lore is super fun or super horrific, depending on what type of person you are.
Oh, it's fun. It's fun.
But it's really interesting. So essentially the story of Daji is there's an emperor in ancient China, and he visited a temple to Nuwa, and he was like, wow, Nuwa is an amazing goddess. I love this goddess. I want to express my love for her. And he did that in a poor choice of ways to do it. He scribbled a love note that was maybe not very respectful on the walls of her temple. So
he graffitied on the wall, is what you're telling me.
Yeah,
okay.
and it was like a girl. It wasn't like romantic poetry.
Oh, right.
So Nuwa gets really upset at this and is like, I'm going to send someone to take this emperor down.
Okay.
So she finds an ancient immortal fox spirit that is just pure evil. That is just the embodiment of kind of torture and seduction.
Okay.
And sends it down to possess a human female.
Right.
So then Jin tells her to get the emperor to fall in love with you and bring his empire down. So Daji, that's where Daji comes. She gets merged in with the fox spirit. The emperor, while they're pillaging and rampaging through the country, conquering things, they find Daji and he takes her into his personal set of girlfriends. And quickly,
personal set of girlfriends. I like that.
I'm doing my. This is a dark lore, so I'm trying my best. Keep it PG-13.
My set of girlfriends.
Right. So, yeah, that one's bad.
Yeah,
there's some bad ones all over the place, but we do our best.
Yeah.
Anyway, so now Daji is with the Emperor. Quickly, the Emperor starts focusing only on Daji, and he will do whatever she wants, and he's doing this crazy parties and spending all of his resources, and at the same time that he's doing this, she's also being absolutely horrible to the people of the kingdom, and she just likes to torture them and punish them for crimes in way more harsh ways than they need to be, even to the point where she just liked to hurt people just for fun or just for her own learning's sake. She would just do this, and as this kept going, she kind of lost sight of her task from Nuwa, and she was like, whatever, I'm not gonna whatever, I'm just gonna do whatever I want and just have fun with it, and just go completely rogue. Right, completely rogue. And this just continues on, and she eventually creates her own signature type of torture device, which we'll get to in the kit. It's featured in the kit, but it's pretty dark.
Okay.
And eventually, this causes the whole empire to crumble, and there's a huge war breaks out, and the entire empire is destroyed.
Okay.
But Daji, the immortal fox spirit, lives on.
Mission accomplished.
Crib notes from what I caught of that. She's a harlot who will get you in a lot of trouble and seduce you and then murder you.
She's just in your
My
set
type
of
of woman.
girlfriends.
My type of woman. I like
Yeah.
it.
Let's not talk
She's
about
dangerous.
So, Chuck, obviously you're the art director, designer.
Yes,
you know.
art
So
director.
what's the big plan with this? Obviously, we've seen like some of the artwork. What was the big focal
So-
points then, knowing what we knew about Ari?
All right. Well, so there was 3 focal points, right? She's a seductress. She's an evil torturer. And she has 9 tails. That's a lot of tails.
Yeah.
We had
That's
a
really few.
lot of arguments about that.
And I was like, we have to have the 9 tails.
And I was like, can't we go with like 4? Because this is a lot of animation
Well,
work. Where are
what-
we going to put all these tails? How are we going to do it? It was not the easiest thing.
Did we
we've
get
done,
9
but-
though?
Yeah, we did. We did.
All right,
9.
I was just making sure because
Yes,
we were going to
all
argue
9.
on air then, Chuck.
No.
If it was only 4,
They
like,
asked
what?
for
That makes no
9.
sense.
We give them 9.
Independently animated, it was a lot of work for
Wow.
our team, really. Like, it was.
Well, the question was, were we going to have 9 all the time,
Sure.
or just sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So
When she killed someone, she'd like fan them out or something. But the 9 permanently.
yes,
Yes.
That's awesome.
they're always there,
Every
flowing.
animation.
So the trick was, like we were when we have a goddess where like the sexy seductress thing is actually heavily focused in the lore, right? We heavily
Sure.
focused the character around that, but then we had all these tails getting in the way, So
I mean,
we
they
had to
get
do
in the way
some.
if you're not fairy. That's the only issue, right? Like it'd be fine if they were.
Who isn't?
Yeah, man, if you
Oh,
really
Fish would
if you're
give the
into
game away.
that, then there's a lot of
Oh, she looks
fur
good!
there.
Yes.
So, and then we did some interesting thing too. We were a little bit worried about the claws kind of keeping her from being feminine, so we made the claws retractable where she can disappear them and reappear them at will.
Also, we were
which
really happy to
turned out neat.
use a new kind of type of weapon. We maybe have
Yeah.
something a little similar in some places, but anytime we can use, Kernanos glaive and this kind of new, actually individual finger blades was really nice, as opposed to just daggers or swords or something,
Which gives like a very surgical feel to her.
which is referenced in the lore specifically.
Which is what
She
she
liked to
is.
cut
Right, 'cause
people
she
open and
dissects
specifically
people and
dissect
stuff,
them
yeah.
to learn from them. So she's got a very precise kind of cutting feel.
Well, now that we've got on the screen, let's start going through her kit finally, because that took a long time to go through lore, but it's good lore, so we
I'm
should
sorry,
find
I'm
out.
sorry.
No,
No,
it's
I
fine, it's fine.
had
You
to
get
play it out.
excited, you get into it, it's fine, I get it. The passive, first of all, let's go through that, AJ. I think that will come to you
Yeah.
for that one.
So-
what exactly is her passive going to do?
Her passive is torture blades.
She's an assassin, first of all. Like,
Yes,
I know
assassin,
we passed
sorry,
over
assassin,
that, but
yes.
it's pretty freaking clear.
China's Pantheon
If she's a
assassin.
murder,
Yeah.
aggressive, evil woman,
Yeah.
assassin.
Right.
Done.
So that's true. I mean, as far as Chuck in this process early, we were talking about how foxy to make her and how evil and stuff, and we had landed on it made a lot of sense for her to be very physical,
Sure.
pain inflicting, so not magical. And since she's kind of a human possessed, it's very much mostly human with just the foxtails, which is her key distinct visual element. So then we have torture blades. This is something that just logically fit into the kit, both visually and through design, which
Yeah.
is Daji's basic attacks apply a bleed to the
Okay.
target, which ticks twice.
Look at
and
those
and
effects,
have
too.
have a base component and
They
a
look
scaling
good. It's the bleeds.
component, and it can actually stack. So it's only 2 seconds, but as many attacks as you can get in that 2 seconds, you can have all of those bleeds happening at
Oh,
once.
so they will continue to stack up. So if you
Infinitely.
So if I got attack speed with this and like spammed away, I'd get more stacks of this and then
Yes.
continue to go.
Yes, so she does, through this passive, scales a bit off attack speed.
Right, interesting, interesting. All right, well, we'll see how this combines with the rest of the kit then, because already bleeds are the first warning sign, I guess, here. As we look at first ability, horrible burns. Oh my god, she goes everywhere with a murder. Horrible burns. Is it called horrible burns?
Yes,
It is.
What a
She
great
likes
name.
burning people, too.
This is not a person you want in your set of girlfriends.
I don't know, I do like
So-
a bit of heat in the bedroom sometimes. Horrible burns, what is it?
Oh, so again, this is another torture device themed ability. It's going to stem her next in hand.
Yeah.
It's also going to reset her basic attack chain. It's going to apply a burst of damage immediately, and it's also going to apply ticks of damage, 3 ticks over 3 seconds.
Okay.
And you can see that. Yeah, if you're basic attacking, it will tick on top of the bleed that you're getting. for basic
Also, it
attack.
stacks with it because of
That's
bleed
right.
and a
That's right.
burn, but they
So-
don't refresh each other or anything like that.
No,
right?
no.
So the
Okay,
the
I just
cooldown
had a
on
second
this
to
is
be like,
long
yeah,
enough.
they all refresh each
No,
other.
they're two independent.
Good.
Every basic
tortures.
attack is going to bleed independently, and that will stack. And the cooldown is just long enough that even with max CDR, you're only going to ever be able to apply 1 stack of it at a time.
Okay, okay, I like that. I like that ability quite well. Next up then is AJ. What's this one? 1,000 cuts.
Yes.
Herp derp. I wonder what's going to happen here.
Yeah, so this is a real key ability
It's
to
a leap.
Daji, and probably the one you're going to want to level up first. This ability does
Really?
does a lot of things.
Okay.
So basically, it's a channeled cone. So while she goes into a 2-second animation where she attacks 4 times, dealing damage to all enemies in front of her, and applying the bleed to Torture Blades on all 4 hits. So you get 4 hits and applying Torture Blades. It also is going to cleanse her of slows and make her move faster. This is where she's really, this is her agility kind of
sort of feel to it.
and kind of a floaty, foxy, spirit form, which is what kind of her mobility. This is kind of like a pseudo mobility ability. It actually so cleanses, slows, and speeds her up when she's firing it. Okay. And it has one more component, which is while she's channeling it, all enemies who are behind her deal less damage to her.
Oh, really?
So it depends on where the god is actually standing.
It doesn't
have
have the
anything
tails
to
of
do.
protecting us.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So it's kind of like it doesn't matter what type of if you're shooting or throwing whatever, projectiles, deployables, whatever. If your god is actually positioned behind Daji, you take reduced damage. So you saw there it was 70 reduced down to 40.
That's right.
He says it's a cleanse on a slow. It's not permanent.
It's
slow immunity.
It's slow
it's
immune
just
during the.
Oh, is it slow immune as well? Not
during
just
the
cleanse.
channel.
I just
During
want
the
to
channel.
clear that one up as well.
Cleanse and immune during the channel.
Gotcha.
As well as a speed buff.
Okay.
Damage and mitigation.
Okay.
The 2 semicircle targeter also came out really well. It kind of looks evocative of like a fan almost. Very cool.
Yeah, I'm really, really happy with how that visually this
Yeah.
ability came out. It's super fun to use. The audio and the hitting feels really good. There's good feedback there. This is one that took a while to come together. It was a bit of a risky one, but I'm really happy with how it turned out.
I've been off one patch note showing it's going to hell because I don't
Did you
know.
lose the second page?
I don't know who's on the second page. I don't know what the names of the abilities are. So let's go with it. Can I name the ability now because I don't know what it is?
If you name it Trickster Spirit, you can name it right now.
Spoiler.
How about you tell me about the third ability there, then, Fishman? What about Trickster Spirit?
Yeah, so this actually is a leap. What this is going to do is it's going to allow you to choose a target. If you don't have a target, then you cannot teleport. But you're going to pick a friend or an ally. You're going to jump to them.
A friend or an enemy.
Yes, because your allies or normally your friends.
No. They're
9
not.
times
They're
out of 10.
They're not. Trust me.
Depends on
not in the game of Smite. No,
That's right.
Everyone's your enemy.
But and if it's an enemy, you're going to do damage when you arrive there.
Okay.
It has a setup time, and which means she can be interrupted while she's charging it. During that little bit of effects and audio, if you can figure out she's going, you can knock her out of it. That will not consume her cooldown or her mana.
What happens if I leap into a tower while she's warming it up?
Yeah.
There's a lot of counterplay with this ability.
Is there
So if you are currently still in the air and don't have an actual position on the ground, she'll go to where you were. So you can just dodge it like that.
Gotcha.
If you use like a dash, especially like a quick Agni dash, you can turn and dash into your own tower, and she will teleport to you in the tower and be in bad shape.
That's kind of cool. Now,
and
it
you can
looks like
even
it applies
do-
the dot as well, right? It applies a passive on landing, it looked like to me? Or
Yeah,
is that-
so all
that's
of her 1, 2, and 3 apply the
Okay, I
passive
wasn't
Torture
sure.
Blades as well.
Cool.
So this is an AoE ability too, actually. Hits all enemies in range, but it's relatively low damage, long warm up, a lot of counterplay.
Well, and
but
you
it's-
can't do like Al Kwong, right, and just GTFO. There's got to be an ally in range that you can
Right.
target.
So
if
she
you use
can't,
it as an escape.
She can't just use it in the open space to just juke moves.
Right.
So she needs a target. It's actually quite difficult to use optimally.
But it is kind of cool that you can, right, if an ally is running away and he's got people trying to kill him, you can zoom in and hit him with the AoE, right? If
And
they're
you were
close
bringing up the
enough.
teleport, and if an enemy gets hit by this, they're not going to have enough time to finish the teleport before she gets there. But if an ally were using the teleport and she got it at the last second, she'd go to their position when they landed, which is cool. Did we show multiple Odins getting hit when she arrives? 'Cause that's pretty cool
No.
too.
I would like to see that, Pom Pom.
Yeah, because you're going to do damage. You're always going to do damage to your target if it's an enemy. But
Right.
if there's a group of them and close enough radius to them, you will also hit all of them with
Oh,
it. Apply the bleed to
wow.
all of them.
It's
Yeah.
especially really nice for when you've got allies and enemies mixing with each other, because you would hate to accidentally hit an ally and like do
So you
no
still do
damage, but
damage
it's
to
AoE
enemies?
all
Yep.
the time. Yeah.
So Gold Fury fights, giant fights, and stuff like
Just
that. Very,
jump on
very
in.
useful for just getting on in there, having
I mean,
some fun.
she's definitely got. This is a risky all-in ability. You have to be
Yeah.
very careful. She can use her too to escape if she ends up in a bad spot. But this is a very pseudo movement ability that she can still find herself in very scary positions.
Well, yeah, because if you're in the jungle harrying some guy and then it's not working out, if you don't have an ally to teleport
right.
to, or you'd have to teleport to another enemy, which is just as bad. So
I'll be honest though, like so far I've not seen anything that looks very torturous in terms of devices yet. Is that what the Ultimate's about?
That is exactly what the Ultimate's about.
It better be.
The
Because you
Ultimate.
promised me it, AJ.
I
so-
know. So the Ultimate is a torture device. It's called the Powlow. This was Daji's invention. It's a giant burning hot cylinder of metal.
Okay.
And historically, they would heat
What's
this
it
thing.
do?
They would heat this thing up. Hold on, we'll show you. One second.
Okay.
We'll heat this.
I'm gonna buy one.
You'll heat this thing up, and they would push or chain people to it and like burn them slowly until they died, or make them balance on it until they fell off and like burned in the coals.
Yeah,
whichever was more entertaining to Daji. So what this does is it's got a short channel time before she goes up in the air untargetable, and then she gets to fire up to 3 shots.
Okay.
This is a bit of a Raw mix with Ares. So what you have is you have up to 3 shots. Those shots deal damage and also chain enemies. At the end of the duration, when she leaps down, if you're chained, you get pulled into the powwow and applied a dot. A short stun and a heavy damage over time.
Wait. So I'm going to try and work out when to beads off this freaking thing when she's going down for the pull of like, where's she going to fire a second shot? Is she going to fire a third shot?
So there's an interesting new feature on Daji which works differently, which is if you beads the chains, it breaks the chains immediately.
Oh, you thought about that. I'm so proud of you guys.
So you can beads. You're still benefit to beads late because you can confuse Daji and maybe she'll try to shoot you more or something like that. But you can beads early. Just break the chains. You're free to go. She cannot rechain you with the same firing of that ability. Not till next time she uses it.
Interesting.
So you can beads or use an ultimate CC immunity, whatever, to break the chains at any time. So you don't need to wait to the very end like Ares. You can just, just CC immune at any time.
Morrigan springs to mind with this character as well.
We've been testing Morrigan.
For some reason, putting Morrigan with her together sounds like a fantastic combination.
So the Daji's deployables fires here have a pretty good delay to them. They're pretty difficult to hit. I compare them to like a Chronos circle. So if you have a fast character, you can juke them. It takes a lot of practice from the Daji player.
But you can jump down early is the key as well. You can actually can you dismount early?
No,
you have to fire all 3.
No, you don't have to fire all 3. You have to wait the entire duration. And the duration is actually rather quick. If you dilly-dally too much, it's easy to only have time to shoot 2 shots or so.
So if I fire my 3 shots very quickly, does that auto end it?
You wait.
You still have to wait.
You wait.
Okay, so it's a timing thing.
It's very scripted. Okay. We want to go through one stage at a time to make sure the feedback is really clear here. And even for the players who test this on PTS, I want to make it known that we're still adjusting some of the fine-tunings, audio and visuals for the specific steps here to make sure it reads clearly, because this is a complicated ability and a lot of things were still kind of coming together. But
Chuck,
I'm really happy with how it turned out.
That totem thing is really cool, by the way.
It's the powwow.
I know. I think actually the design of the look of it and the actual game looks really fantastic too. Does that body block or anything?
It does.
Do you take damage from walking near it or anything like that?
You don't take any damage from walking near it, but it's purely a blocking volume.
Cool. So is it like a physical form that's in the game, like a Ymir wall, but it's not going to do any damage, just like a Ymir wall?
Or like an on her pillar.
That's a better way of doing it without the slow.
Yes.
So,
she's just on top of it.
So we know she's going to be a jungler. Like that's kind of a design. That's generally what Assassins is. Has she got any other roles, or is she got a certain point of the game where she's going to really shine? Would you say?
Definitely jungler.
Jungle murder.
Yeah. I think she is really a mid-game god.
Okay.
She's very all-in, so she has trouble late game because she'll get burned down really quickly.
Sure.
And early game, she really, once she gets her 2 to max rank, and maybe once her 2 and her 1 to max rank, when she's got the maximum amount of kind of burst damage, that is when she's going to peak.
In a way, she kind of reminds me of Thanatos in that you're just kind of, you got to commit and get the kill.
Yep.
And then if somebody else comes, you better kill them too, because you're not getting away.
Yeah, except she can't heal herself in any way.
It's like Circuit without the escape.
True.
It feels more like an all-in Circuit that can't get back out necessarily.
Except without 2
Unless
of the
kill
best.
them.
It's like Circuit, but without having 2 of the best movement abilities in the game.
Yes, but I mean with the all-in potential of Circuit, when she all-in, she also use a full combo and then disengage maybe with ambush. This is the same sort of thing, but you commit in fully.
Circuit has a lot more burst damage and instant lockdown. Daji, and this is kind of reinforcing the torture mechanics, which is things come out a little slower. There's a lot of dot components to the damage, and even her abilities all have very multi-stage. So you're going through this roller coaster of emotion on if Daji is going to be able to capitalize on these abilities or not, and a lot of questioning as opposed to just getting instant 1, 2, 3 dead.
But I mean,
so the 3 as well, determining how you place. Does that make a difference with this or what?
Sure. So she's always going to be in the direction she was facing when she makes the movement. So if you fire and then turn around, you'll wind up on the other side of the enemy.
And if Pawn can show this in slow motion,
it's really cool.
If Pawn can show this in slow motion, there's also kind of a duplicates trail.
Yes.
Oh yeah, to show you the direction.
There's an effects trail from her destination.
You can't really see it when you're doing it, but to slow it down super slow.
This way he breaks the game now.
Do a 180. No, you got to back up.
Pawn's
not
having
close.
a good day.
It's too close.
Pawn.
You're too close, man. You got to back it up.
I got the idea of it though. I could kind
so what it does is it draws a line from her teleport to her destination. So you can see, even if you don't know if she went over a wall or you don't know it because she was swerving around a lot during the setup time. You can see the line tell you where she went.
That's kind of cool. I like that effect that you've added there, just to make sure it's nice and clear for where did she go to? Oh, she's over there.
It's the slow-mo. It doesn't appear to be
It's been
working.
tricky to show, but it'd probably be better.
Yeah, slow-mo effects.
Yeah, they don't always slow
over
I
distance.
know.
Jeez.
One day we'll do a patch notes so we can get
But
everything
anyway,
right,
if
you know?
another
You'll see it,
person
you'll
is
see it.
watching you do it, you'll
gives
see a
clearly see
line of
That's where she
dodgy
traveled.
images go
That's awesome.
to the target.
Now, she
So-
does obviously come with a voice pack as well. We'll just see if we can hear it. I can
It's a
hear
bass
normal
voice pack,
bass
so it should work.
So it should work. We'll find out. Pom-pom.
There it is.
That is
Yes, you may live. Merciless. Bow down before me. Bow down before me. I learned long ago that compassion gets you nowhere. I'd like to slice you open and see what makes you tick. I'm sure you'd love to spend a night with me, but I doubt you'd survive it. I adore ballroom dancing, especially if we do the foxtrot.
There's a joke.
Want to know how to torture a male god? Ignore him. What do you give the girl who has everything? You give her more.
Yeah.
Sounds like my
You've
wife.
got a lot
Attack!
of... That might get you in trouble.
I will. Don't worry.
She doesn't watch the stream.
Wait, don't seem to understand. It's like I'll banter all day with you guys, but at home I'm definitely whipped.
So she's got a good, interesting personality. You know, it's a little combination of kind
Yeah,
of
that's
royal and
really
elegant,
cool voice
but
crack.
still just psychotic
She's-
and evil and
The first thing I
selfish.
thought of was regal. She sounds like a queen, but at the same time, she's an evil queen to me.
Oh,
so-
yeah.
Completely ruthless and bloodthirsty, but still having a good time with it.
Yeah, of course
And
she
I
is.
know everybody's going, this is strong, but this is going to be the Loki type thing where you commit, you kill somebody, and then you get.
I
You
feel
get
she's. I
memed
feel.
on Twitter and
Click-clacked.
Reddit as like,
Well,
I
we'll
could be
see.
Loki today.
I mean, every new god is OP always, right? That's what they always say. So we'll
Sure.
see. This one is going to be interesting. I think it's going to vary a lot based on skill level.
Right, but what I'm saying is that I feel like skill isn't going to determine. You're going to be able to kill people. Are you going to be able to kill people
Sure.
and not die immediately
Well, and
afterwards?
the
right?
difference between like doing 99% of someone's health and 100% is a huge difference for her
Yep.
because it's probably not only the difference between a kill or not, but also living
Whether
or
you
not.
live.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Good point.
Well, gentlemen, this has been fantastic. I'm really excited to see how Darji plays out in the game of Smite as well. What's your favorite thing going to change? Other than, obviously, the god that's about to come out. Chuck, what's your favorite thing this patch? I've got the other skin as well.
Oh,
I forgot
yeah.
about that. Do you
Yeah,
want to see the other
that's
skin?
true.
Maybe you'll choose this, actually. Maybe you'll
Dodgy
choose this
recolor?
Dodgy
I like-
recolor skin.
I don't know. I think Dodgy turned out really great.
I think
like
the dodgy
effects
card
and
art.
The Dodgy card art is some of the
That's what
most
you're-
amazing stuff.
Ooh.
The default card art for her is
She
crazy
thick.
good.
I'm just doing. I just said exactly what Twitch chat we're all thinking.
You're not
that's
wrong.
all.
You're not
Well, we
wrong.
wanted her to be a little bit more Chun-Li and a little less, super skinny all the way around.
Okay. I was trying to when you said Chun-Li, I was like, where's he going to go with this next one then? Who I was going to reference, and you went, skinny. Skinny. You could think of another person to think of it.
Yeah.
Not Chun-Li, but not a skinny person. So for you, what about you, Fish? What's your favorite thing in the patch?
Man, I really want to see how these XP changes play out. We did
Yeah.
a lot of testing, and we've heard a lot of feedback. So
Yeah.
we hope that improves the meta. And obviously, if it doesn't, we'll keep working on it.
AJ?
And that said, PTS, when it goes up, we'll let you know. But
Play
just
it, tell us.
get in there, play it. We should have a spectator working. So pros, if you want to scrim, you want to record your matches, you want to send us videos of show us things you think are working
Look
well
at
or
this
not.
OP! Look at this underpowered! Yeah, that sort of thing, yeah.
Let's see it instead of just
Dynafire,
speculating wildly. Let's take a look at it. But my favorite is really, it's Dodgy.
Of course it
I
is.
think the skins were
You always
great.
say safe when you're always like, I
but,
just want to pick the new god.
the animation
goddess.
team and the art team worked really hard to get all the tails and everything working well, and this complicated cinematic,
Oh,
multi-staged ultimate. And the programmers, everybody worked really hard on the god, and she turned out great.
Awesome.
She did.
So generally what we're looking for here is scheduled release should be Tuesday.
Yeah, patch is always
Yeah,
on.
patch should always
will
go out
go
the Tuesday, and
live,
PTS should
August.
be out when it's out sometime later this week.
Hopefully tonight, maybe tomorrow.
Awesome.
It depends on
The
bugs.
same old thing. Depends if Pom Pom can work out voice packs.
There's a couple known issues, is what we call those. Hindu
Oh,
men, that
known
we're-
issues.
Known
Working as
issues.
intended issues.
That
Those sort of
no,
things.
it means we're working on them already.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And as soon as those get fixed, or we'll just get a lot of bug reports for them, even though we're already fixing them.
Known
so.
issues mean bugs we haven't fixed yet.
Oh, thank you.
That
was
you
a
don't
bad
need
mistake.
to report because
That was
we're
a-
already working on them.
So now you can just respond with known issues. Like we're working on these bugs
Known
all
issue.
the time. All the
Yeah.
time, just respond with known issues. Been a pleasure as always, guys. That's
Thank
all we've got
you.
time for on the Patch Note Show. Darji will be hitting a system on your side very, very soon as well. We'll see you again in 2 weeks' time.